Peoples, top of the morning. It is Tuesday, December 26th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports armed groups kill 113 people in series of attacks across central Nigeria. Nigerian authorities say armed groups known as bandits hit 20 communities and injured more than 300 people. Armed groups have killed more than 100 people in a string of attacks targeting towns across central Nigeria, another deadly episode in a region with persistent religious and ethnic tensions. Local officials on Monday said the toll of the weekend attacks by armed groups, sometimes called bandits, has risen to 113, increasing sharply from the government's initial count of 16. And so there's a bunch of turmoil happening on the continent of Africa right now. I've been covering a lot of these stories, and from Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Uganda, different places are going through turmoil right now. Different places have experienced what is called coup d'etat, where certain military factions have seized power, have taken power from the sitting presidents of said countries, because these presidents were puppets for the West and Western allies. And so these countries band together and sought to overthrow the sitting presidents at those times. And so this situation right here in this situation where there's civil unrest, there's bandits, there's armed groups, but this is no different from anywhere else in the world. It's no different from anywhere else in the world where you have gangs, where you have any type of criminal organizations that are controlling and dictating certain narratives in said regions through criminal acts. So this is no different from any place else on planet Earth that's experiencing civil unrest. So you have all these things happening simultaneously. And so the world is seeing more conflict than it has seen in a very long time. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports classroom massacre. Survivors say Israel executed innocents in Gaza school. At least 7 bodies of displaced Palestinians, including women, children, and babies, shot point blank, were recovered at the Shadia Abu Ghazala school, Jabalia, Gaza Strip. Bodies were piled up instead of books in the classroom. Bullet holes pocket marked some walls. Others were charred, apparently by fire. Dis- Displaced families were sheltering in the United Nations run Shadia Abu Ghazala school, west of the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza, where Israel soldiers entered the building. What followed was a massacre, according to the witnesses and family of those who were killed in the early December assault. I think it should be clear to everyone by now that's been covering this story. And this Palestine Israeli conflict, it spans back decades. But as it relates to what's happening right now, this has been going on for approximately 2 months. And so what we've all been witnessing in this short amount of time is not just an ethnic cleansing, but it is a display. It's a clear display of um what one may call culling a population. Now, This terminology exists from individuals who sought to kill off said amount of people so that other people in population could survive. And this is the philosophy that they came up with. So the philosophy is that there's too many people. There's not enough food, there's not enough resources. So when a society becomes overpopulated, some evil and sinister, diabolical individuals that exist in said population, well, they strategize to come up with ways to depopulate, to come up with ways to call that population, to kill off individuals in that population so that you can free up resources. And so this is nothing short of what I believe is happening in Palestine. The Israeli government, the Israeli army has sought to exterminate these people for whatever the reason may be. And the reason may very well be unbeknownst to me and you, to you and I, excuse me. The question that we should all be asking ourselves is this okay? What what on God green earth, if there is a God, right? For those of you who are religious, I always say this. For those of you who do believe in a higher power, what on this earth, on this planet, would make any sound human being say that this is okay? What could what could possibly make this okay? So these Israeli cowards, and I'm never gonna use the word soldier as it relates to the Israeli military. They're not soldiers, they're cowards to me. Now, they're a military nonetheless because they have the resources and the capabilities to be considered a military, but they're cowards nonetheless. You see, I sat back and I analyzed the situation and I said, what type of military in the year 2023, with all this technology and all the advancements that we have made, and this is not just in one country, this is globally, this is around the world. There's been amazing technological advancements made around the world. So, how is it that a military, or army, is incapable of targeting and pinpointing certain individuals without killing a whole population, a whole group of people? How is this possible? Well, how it's possible is because it's happening on purpose. There's no excuse for the bombardment of the Palestinian people. There's no excuse for the killing of the innocent civilians. There's absolutely no excuse for the extermination of children in a school. You can't make it make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. And if you are a human being who stands on moral principles and values, then it won't make sense to you. So the United States and its Western allies are trying to criminalize supporting Palestine. They're trying to criminalize supporting Hamas. They're trying to criminalize supporting Hezbollah. And, from what's going on in the Red Sea, they're probably trying to criminalize the Houthi rebels as well. And this is all because people, human beings, won't sit back and allow you to keep slaughtering their women, their children, their elderly, just their people. And so you and I, wherever we sit, wherever we covering these stories, wherever we are viewing these topics, you and I have to make a decision as a human being. You know, this is not legal advice. This is not advice at all. This is an opinion based show. But it is not incumbent upon me to hold up man's law above what I know is just human nature. It is not incumbent upon me to do such a thing. So I won't hold up man's law over what I know is just human rights. This is common sense. I don't need anything to for anything to be written or for anything to be stamped with approval to say this is what it should be. No, I don't need that. I'm a human being and I'm connected to the human race. I know right, wrong, and indifferent. And this is clearly wrong. For me, it will never be okay. But there's another question that's been plaguing me as well. And it is about preparation and what one is prepared to do. And this is an inflection point for me because the United States of America likes likes to call people radicals. You understand? Likes to call people homegrown terrorists and things of that nature for being against the actions that they are committing on the world stage. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Ukraine's allies fall short of Russia's on arms help, raising 2024 risk. Europe is supplying Ukraine only a fraction of the shells it needs, while North Korea has stepped up for Russia. So now, I've been covering this as well. And, I've been saying that Russia is completely destroying Ukraine. The Ukrainian president, Zelensky, keeps coming to the West, keeps coming to the United States of America, obviously on his hands and knees, because he's begging for weapons to keep up the war going on in Ukraine. And as I said before, this war is a losing battle. It's a lost cause. But this individual and you know United States of America and its Western allies are pushing forward. Now, why are they pushing forward? Well, a lot of people believe that this is a proxy war. What is a proxy war? Well, a proxy war is a war that a nation can engage in without actually being in the war themselves. So you search out a conflict, right? And you see a conflict going on around the world. Now you take said conflict and you choose a side. You pick a side. And then you engage in assisting that side in the conflict. So now you get to engage, you get to have the conflict, you get to have the war that you want, but you get to not be involved. And you get to supply the side that you're supporting, and you get to fight the war that way. You get to see what the outcome will be. And so many people believe that the United States of America is testing new weapon systems, new systems that's been created by the military industrial complex to, see if these things are accurate, to see if these things work. And what better way to test these things, to test these new inventions, to test these new weapon systems what better way than engaging in a conflict that you're not actually engaged in? So now you can say, you know, American lives wasn't lost. It's that plausible deniability thing where you can be involved in something but not actually be involved in it personally or physically. And, you know, you get to see what the outcome will be that way. And so this is no shock to me that this individual is having a hard time um getting arms, getting more funds for more weapons. It's not a surprise to me. And then the United States, at this very same time of this conflict happening, there's other conflicts that's happening in the world. So the United States has to stretch its resources. So you have what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. You have what's going on with China and Taiwan. And then you have what's going on in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine. And we're not even mentioning the conflicts that's happening in the continent, on the continent, excuse me, of Africa. We haven't even gotten to those conflicts. And then there's, from my understanding, new conflict in South America, which is not new conflict, but erupting conflict in South America between Venezuela and Guyana. So, you know, the United States has some very, very major shoes to fill. And they have to also be strategic about the path that they walk on. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. Did you know about these stories? Do they make you angry? Do they make you upset? Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. Once again, always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe. Peace.